This is ABC15 Mornings.
Another step toward change. The Phoenix police chief opening up the conversation between officers and protesters. Some calling it a breakthrough after an emotional week.
And in Minneapolis, following days of heartache and outrage, finally some signs of peace. State troopers reassigned and curfews lifted.
Also, a simple way to join the fight for racial equality. How you can support Black-owned businesses right here in the Valley. We say good morning to you as we kick off your weekend. So glad you're starting it with us. I'm Nohelani Grad.
This is ABC15 Mornings.
And I'm Mark Thompson, social distancing from home. And Nohe, one of my homies is in town, and he was out on the golf course yesterday when it was 110. He claims he doesn't mind because it's cheaper to play when it's so hot, but I bet you he's gonna be thankful that it's only gonna be in the 90s.
Yeah, and I feel like people who always do that say, like, come from an area where there's insane humidity, so to them it's like, well, it's a dry heat, you know, just like the tarmac at the airport.
Exactly.
But today, yes, definitely would be the day to hit the links. It will be notably cooler. It's funny that we're talking about cool when we're talking about 90s, but we know here in the Valley that makes all the difference when you can get under triple digits. Right now, those storms that moved through last night, and some of you even caught some lightning, really starting to diminish off in northeastern Arizona. Here in the Valley, we've got some hazy conditions this morning, even though air quality is good. And right now the temperatures are pretty mild, 75 degrees at Phoenix Sky Harbor at this hour. Just a light breeze around 7 miles an hour. So it's actually a really nice morning if you want to take your coffee, open the window, sit on the patio as you listen to us this morning, because we're actually going to stay in the 70s through 8 o'clock this morning. We're just at 80 degrees by 9 a.m. and you won't believe how cool we'll still be come lunchtime. I'm going to show you that warm up through the afternoon and also talk about that high forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Nohe, thank you. And this is an image that could go a long way to provide some unity here in the community, especially amidst a ninth night of protest. Phoenix Police Chief Jerry Williams marching alongside protesters Friday, chanting, "We need change," then telling the crowd that she hears them and promising to be the catalyst for change within her department.
We are going to work together. We're going to look at policies. We're going to work together. We're going to make change. We're going to work together on the killings. We're going to work together, but I need you guys to give us some time.
Now, while some did praise the chief's move last night, the union for the police rank and file officers, they put out a question on social media asking others what they thought about it, and many said that they were upset, some even feeling that she was going against her own officers. Meanwhile, out in Scottsdale and Fashion Square, it's normally bustling with Friday nightlife, but it was blocked off with barricades. A few National Guard soldiers, they were out there, they were present as well. And as police prepare for any potential protests through the weekend, some business owners in the area say that they could be closed for another full week to repair damage from the last time where some of that looting took place.
Some state representatives are asking the Department of Justice to investigate the death of DION Johnson. The 28-year-old man was shot and killed on Memorial Day by a DPS trooper after he was found passed out in his car on the interstate. And now DION's family and their attorney are calling for more transparency and accountability. The family has repeatedly called for Phoenix police to release the report, the DPS trooper's name, as well as the autopsy report. So far, none of those items have come to light. Phoenix police say DION was passed out drunk near an interstate on-ramp. A DPS trooper says after removing a gun from DION's car, the 28-year-old began fighting from inside the vehicle. The trooper says there were two struggles, and DION reached for the trooper's gun. The trooper shot DION at least once. There's no dash camera because the trooper was on a motorcycle. He also was not wearing a body camera. The family and their attorney want to know what the trooper wrote in the police report and if that trooper has any prior complaints.
I understand the officer may have his own family, but Mr. DION Johnson's family deserves answers. DION Johnson is dead. His mother lost her son, and she deserves to know who killed her son and what type of background did this officer have.
There's only one account of what happened on that Monday morning. And what we know is that there's additional information, and that has to come, and it is our hope in this letter that we can get additional information through a Justice Department investigation.
Relatives say they also have questions about how paramedics responded after DION was shot. They say video from an ADOT traffic camera shows EMTs waiting nearby for 6 minutes after DION was shot and handcuffed on the ground.
This morning, new images from the family of Daniel Shaver. He's the unarmed man that was shot and killed by Mesa police inside a hotel back in 2016. His family participating in one of many of the nationwide protests, this one in Durango, Colorado, where they live now. Their signs reading, "Police the police," and "Justice for my dad." The officer who killed Shaver went on trial for second-degree murder, but was acquitted in that case. However, he, as well as the city of Mesa, are still facing a civil lawsuit.
Arizona State University is looking into allegations of racist comments made by the new dean of the journalism school. Sonia Forte Due was recently appointed dean of the Cronkite School. She is set to begin July 1st. Due is currently the director of the School of Communication and Design at Loyola University in New Orleans. Former Loyola students allege that Due made racially charged comments about black students' appearance, specifically their hair. ASU leaders say they are looking into the allegations, but ABC 15 spoke with one of her former students.
I think it was 4 years of microaggressions and comments and statements that were always let go at the wayside. I think it was routinely about messy hair or being too tan or you had to fit her certain look.
The state press reports that additional students of Due complained about references to their voice and overall appearance that were alleged to be disrespectful.
Well, as the summer heats up, the chill between Governor Doug Ducey and Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, it's starting to thaw just a little bit. Friday morning, the mayor called the governor. It was the first time that the two had spoken since early March. Gallego called it a good conversation. She said that the governor committed to working with her office to help homeless veterans and speak directly to her on matters concerning the city.
He also committed to me that should there ever be a situation such as he decides to implement a curfew in my city, that I won't have to find out by Twitter next time.
Mayor Gallego says the city and the police department are committed to ensuring people's right to peacefully protest. Gallego says that she is meeting with community members in an effort to bring some solutions moving forward that will satisfy the city as well as those who are out there protesting.
Another important topic in our state, we are on wildfire watch this weekend. Crews are hoping that cooler weather will play to their advantage. They are making some progress in the fight against the Sawtooth fire. It has scorched 24,000 acres so far, but it is now 42% contained. It's been burning for days now, though, in the Superstition Wilderness just east of the valley. And on that note, tomorrow we do have fire alerts across much of the state. We have a red flag warning in effect on Sunday along eastern Arizona, across northeastern Arizona, and across northwestern Arizona. We also have a fire weather watch. So that does mean that an increase in winds, dry temperatures, and low humidities make it very easily a tinderbox to just spark a flame and spread into a full-blown wildfire. Here in the valley, we will notice a change finally after those cooking temperatures over the last week. 93 degrees is our forecast high. We'll get some breezes a little closer to dinner time today in the valley. Tomorrow, stronger breezes here in the valley that will start picking up mid-afternoon and slightly warmer temperatures, but staying in the 90s. I will show you how long these 90s last as we head closer to the work week, and we'll talk about that high country forecast in case you're still looking for even cooler temperatures. That's coming up in that most accurate forecast.
All right, no, hey, thank you. 6:09 now on your Saturday morning coming up. Today is the anniversary of the famous battle that was a major turning point in World War II. We'll have more details coming up. Plus, local leaders in Washington, D.C. making a statement just steps from the White House, painting a huge sign on the street in yellow. The mayor remaining to see that says Black Lives Matter. She renamed it that. We'll have more after the break. Welcome back, everybody, and today we remember an important day in American and world history. It's the 76th anniversary of D-Day. On this day in 1944, Allied troops invaded Normandy, France to fight Nazi Germany in World War II. It was the largest land and water invasion in the history and a major turning point in the war. It's estimated that approximately 10,000 Allied soldiers were either killed or wounded or went missing in action. More than 6,600 of them were Americans. Well, later today, George Floyd will be honored once again, this time in North Carolina. It's been a week full of emotion, but it may be the beginning of change that so many people have been asking for. ABC's Ty Hernandez has more.
Following days of heartache and outrage in Minneapolis, there are finally signs of peace. Last night, there was no curfew. And the scene at the makeshift memorial to George Floyd also different. On the day of the memorial, the mood was somber and reflective. By Friday, the energy was much higher, more celebratory.
When there is complete police reform, this entire idea of racial justice will actually come to be.
The City Council approving a restraining order against the Minneapolis Police Department, essentially forcing them to comply with changes in police procedure, banning chokeholds, and establishing a duty to report and intervene if an officer witnesses an illegal chokehold or neck restraint. The order will need to be approved by a judge, but it stems directly from the death of George Floyd. Floyd's death sparking further scrutiny of law enforcement elsewhere. 2 officers in Buffalo now suspended over what happened in this video. It shows them allegedly shoving a 75-year-old protester to the ground.
He is fleeing! He's out of his ears! He's out of his ears! He's bleeding out of his ear! Get him better!
As officers walk past, one appears to radio for help. Police initially claimed the man tripped and fell. At least 57 members of the emergency response team resigning in protest, according to the union. In Chicago, 2 officers relieved of police powers after video showed them pulling women from their car and allegedly throwing them on the ground. In Sarasota, Florida, this officer on leave after this video surfacing showing him apparently kneeling on a man's neck in May. President Trump for days tweeting messages in support of law enforcement, saying this during a speech in the Rose Garden yesterday.
Hopefully George is looking down right now and saying there's a great thing that's happening for our country. There's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Joe Biden calling him out.
George Floyd's last words, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe," have echoed all across this nation and, quite frankly, around the world. For the president to try to put any other words in the mouths of George Floyd, I frankly think is despicable.
Local leaders in Washington also hoping to make a statement of their own. Just steps from the White House, painting this huge sign on the street. Mayor Muriel Bowser saying this stretch is now officially Black Lives Matter Plaza. Ty Hernandez, ABC News, New York.
Let's get you that most accurate forecast now. I know that you maybe saw some of that dry lightning last night, maybe even a sprinkle or two. So that was part of a system that started tracking up to the northeastern corner of our state, and it's still lingering just right at the Four Corners area in Window Rock, but it will move out over the next 2 hours here. And then we have clear conditions and dry conditions across the state for the rest of the afternoon. Our temperatures right now are pretty mild statewide. We don't have any really cold spots. Flagstaff is just 50 degrees right now. Same temperature in the Grand Canyon. We're in the upper 50s in Show Low, upper 50s in Payson. So nice and crisp as you step out the door there. Along our western border and south of us, we've got upper 60s and low 70s to start the morning. Here in the valley, live view of Paiestoa Peak, it actually would be a great morning to get your hike in early. Our temperatures are dropping. In fact, even by lunchtime, you'll still be okay if you want to go out and get a hike in. Temperatures right now across the valley, mostly in the low 70s, 72 in Scottsdale as well as Levine, 70 in Chandler and Gilbert, but places like Santan Valley, Apache Junction, Buckeye, Anthem and Cave Creek, all in the upper 60s this morning. So that's a nice change. We haven't seen that for the last couple of days. And our warm up, no triple digits across the valley today. We are staying in the low 90s. What a nice break for once. These temperatures about 10 degrees below the average for this time of year. So a high of 93 in Goodyear, Ahwatukee, Mesa and Gilbert, 91 in Apache Junction, Fountain Hills, the Deer Valley neighborhoods as well as Surprise, Anthem and Cave Creek are going to stay in the 80s today. You may not even crack those 90-degree temperatures. We've got 90s to our south, 92 in Casa Grande, 94 in Gila Bend. Hottest spot in the state is actually going to be out in Safford today at 97. To our north, if you're heading to Prescott or Payson, really nice, comfortable day for you. Mid-70s there. And then north of the rim, upper 60s in Flagstaff today, staying in the mid-70s in Heber and Show Low this afternoon. If you're staying in Flagstaff for the rest of the weekend, know that the breezes are going to be noticeable today and even stronger tomorrow. We're going to have very windy conditions. In fact, as we get through the middle of the afternoon, that's keeping our temperatures pretty mild up there too. Upper 60s, low 70s, even as we head into the start of the week. Now back here in the valley, here's what our warm up looks like today. We're in the 70s now. We're actually staying that way for about another 2 hours or so. By noon, we're still just going to be in the upper 80s. We haven't seen that in possibly weeks at this point. By 4, we're at that peak heat of the day, 93 degrees. And then 8 o'clock this evening, we're cooling down. We're back in the upper 80s. So it'll be a warm evening, but we'll at least get some relief pretty quickly. And our overnight lows are going to take us down into the 70s once again, but I think that we'll see more valley cities in the upper 60s overnight. Tomorrow, we are going to be a little bit warmer. 97 is that forecast high, so staying in the 90s though, and then dipping just a little bit to start the work week in the mid-90s. Now the triple digits do make their return on Tuesday, so we'll talk about if they went out or if the 90s return in our 7-day forecast. I'm going to go over that for you in just a little bit. But still to come for you this morning, we're continuing some important conversations. We've had a lot of viewers asking us how they can help join the fight for racial equality here in the Valley, going beyond protesting. So we're breaking down one way that you can make a difference. Stay with us, Arizona. History is unfolding right now, and there are a number of ways that you can support the fight for racial equality. And one way to make a difference is to support Black-owned businesses within your community. So Robin Reed is the president of the Black Chamber of Arizona, and he's going to help talk us through this morning. Robin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Nohalani.
So Robin, tell me about why it's important specifically to support Black-owned businesses.
Well, as you know, many of our Black-owned businesses have had challenges before COVID, before the racial unrest that we're experiencing right now. They've had challenges in expanding and growing their businesses, whether it was due to access to capital or community support or just recognition that their business existed.
One question that I've heard when I talk about this with people who don't quite understand is they say, well, there are lots of local businesses, and in Arizona specifically, there are lots of minority-owned businesses. What's the difference with supporting a Black-owned business? Why is it important to also pay extra attention there?
Well, yes, obviously there are a multitude of businesses with business owners of a number of ethnic backgrounds, but what we're looking for is equity within the community. We think that we should at least be supporting our businesses in line with their representation within the community. So when you support a Black-owned business, you are also supporting a family that contributes to the economy, a family that is supporting our tax base through the taxes that are paid. So yes, when I hear we should support all businesses, that almost sounds a lot like that knee-jerk reaction, all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter. Just at times, there is greater attention needed in certain areas, and at this particular time, we need to throw that support toward our Black-owned businesses.
Supporting a Black-owned business does not mean we're trying to take down all other businesses, absolutely. Also, one thing is that it helps hold other companies accountable as well.
Of course, because remember that Black business owners are also consumers of goods and services within the community. So you want to support them because they need to be represented elsewhere. When you support a Black-owned business, you are supporting not only their economic well-being, but you're also supporting their ability to go out and contribute to the economy. So yes, it still affects our larger corporations. What we don't want is a situation where our Black-owned businesses are struggling to such an extent that we become a drain on the economy instead of where we should be and where we can be, which is a wonderful support of our economy.
I know that it goes beyond just restaurants, but we do all have to eat. So that is a really easy way for people to get involved. We're putting a list together to put on our website, but are there any other ways that people can learn who might run the business that they should be giving their dollars to in their community?
Well, yes. I mean, there's, we are about to launch a campaign in partnership with our friends at the Asian Chamber and with Cahoots to expand Takeout Thursday, which was originally created for the Asian community. And they reached out to me and said, we would love to support Takeout Thursday and focus it on the Black community. So we're going to be launching that in the next day or so, in which we will try to support our Black-owned restaurants. But Nohalani, you're absolutely right. The Black community is experienced in a number of areas besides restaurants and maybe other things that may appear to be stereotypical. We have amazing Black-owned engineering firms. We have incredible Black-owned general contracting firms. We have unbelievable Black-owned behavioral healthcare businesses that are crucial and vital to the overall community. And I think that we just need to make sure that we are looking for the quality of goods and services delivered before we concern ourselves with the race of the person operating the business.
Absolutely. And for the business owners who are out there, if they're not already connected with the Black Chamber, what's the best way to get in touch?
You can connect to us at info@blackchamberaz.com. I try my best to respond to each inquiry directly, but we have a wonderful team and an amazing board of directors that can assist me in that effort. But if you go to info@blackchamberaz.com with any questions, any ideas, we've received a number of offers of support from individuals that maybe didn't know we existed before. We've gotten a lot of support from the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We've gotten wonderful support from GPEC and others. So I'm encouraged that when we turn the corner from this entire situation, we really can be a better Arizona.
Wonderful. Robin, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.